Hi guys, welcome to the 12 Days of Magical Holiday Baking, where we're making a series of family favorites, as well as some new recipes that we've not tried before. Today is a new recipe. It is from the Delish magazine. It is for glazed maple cookies. Looks delicious. I'd like to welcome you to my backyard Kentucky homestead. My name is Kim, and let me show you what we need to do to make these. So for the glazed maple leaf cookies, we need all-purpose flour, we need raw walnuts, baking powder, ground cinnamon, salt, softened butter, 1 egg, some maple syrup, and some milk and granulated sugar. And to start, we're going to go ahead and get our walnuts and our flour mixed up, and we'll be right back. So what we're going to do, I have 1 cup of raw walnuts, which I have put in the food processor. In this bowl, I have 3 cups of all-purpose flour. I'm going to start putting this in here, and then we're going to pulse it, and then add some more, and then we're going to add some of our baking powder, our salt, and our cinnamon. So that has crushed up our walnuts with our flour. We'll put the rest of the flour in now. So then to this, we want to add 1 teaspoon of baking powder. Make sure you're using powder, not soda. They're not interchangeable. And we want 1 teaspoon of ground cinnamon. We also want to add half a teaspoon of salt. So I'm using the pink Himalayan salt. So we're all combined now. Go ahead and get this out of the way. So in the stand mixer, I have 2 sticks of butter that has been softened. Maybe a little bit more than it should be, but it's there. And then we want to put 1 cup of granulated sugar in. So then we're going to run this on medium-high until it's light and fluffy, so about 2 minutes. So now we're going to go ahead and add our egg. So we added our egg. We're going to add 3 tablespoons of milk. And then a teaspoon of maple syrup. And this is pure maple syrup. So we mix this until it's combined, and then we'll gradually start adding in our flour. Okay, I think we're going to call that and just finish it by hand. Okay, so we don't need the baking mat yet. We'll leave it there just to use. I'm going to put some plastic wrap down. And then we're going to dump the dough out onto this. Bring it all to the center, and what I want to do is to create kind of a disc shape. Go ahead and pull the edges of the cling wrap up. Put one more on just to be safe. So I'm going to set this into the refrigerator for at least an hour, but up to overnight, and then we will pull it out, roll it out, and make our cookie shapes. So we'll be back. Our cookie dough has chilled. We're gonna go ahead and put a little flour on the surface. I also have a rolling pin that has these little discs that'll help you get to the right thickness. And what we want is an 1/8 of an inch thick cookie dough. Go ahead and unwrap this. I'm probably going to go ahead and work with maybe about half of it. Let's go ahead and work with a little bit of it. Let's try this again. So I went ahead and kneaded the dough a little bit to make it a little warmer. And it is spreading out a lot easier. Okay, let's go ahead. We got our little cookie cutter. We have a little maple leaf shaped cookie cutter. Put those on a piece of parchment. So we have a tray here. I'm going to go ahead and set these into the freezer for 10 minutes and then we will get them into a 350-degree oven. Our first batch of cookies is cold, so we're going to go ahead and put it into a 350-degree oven for 10 to 12 minutes. So we'll get these last 3 trays frozen and in the oven, and then we'll be back. All right, that's the last one. So we will let these cool down completely, and then we will make the icing and put that on them. So we'll be back shortly. So we're gonna go ahead and make the icing for our maple cookies. And for this, we need brown sugar, confectioner's sugar, a little bit of nutmeg, 6 tablespoons of butter, some maple syrup, vanilla, and a little bit of milk. And to start, we're going to go ahead and put our brown sugar and our butter into the pan and heat it up. And then we're going to do a 3/4 cup measure of brown sugar. So we're going to go ahead and stir this continuously to avoid it burning until the sugar and butter are completely melted. So we still have, you can see the granulars. I don't know if you can see it, but there's still a lot of sugar granules, so we're going to keep cooking it. Okay, we're going to call that done. What we want to do is go ahead and pour it into a heat-proof bowl. So now we're going to go ahead and add our vanilla. We're going to do about 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla. And then about 1/2 teaspoon of pure maple syrup. So then we're going to slowly add 1.5 cups of powdered sugar. We're going to put a pinch of salt and just a dash of nutmeg. Okay, and then we are going to add 3 tablespoons of milk. So the recipe says to dunk both sides. I'm going to just go ahead and, as best I can, let it drip off. And then we will set it on a parchment to harden up. So I've switched from dipping. I'm just going to frost the top of them. And the ones that I don't like that, they're looking the very same. I'm not going to worry about frosting the bottoms, because that was just going to take an exponential amount of time. Okay. So I'll get these finished up and then we'll be back. So we have our maple leaf cookies. They're done, mostly. They taste great. Highly recommend them. A few things that I would probably do different is maybe do an easier shape, especially if you're not used to working with cutout cookies. Also, the icing, as they called it, was really hard to work with, especially if you dipped both sides at the same time. Stuck to the parchment paper, made an absolute mess. So trying to paint one side of the cookie, more than enough icing. You don't need both sides. More than enough icing just to put it on one on the top. Let those set up and dry. One thing I did find is that as I was working, the icing started to thicken up and it got a lot harder to spread. Initially it was pooling out, so it was a smooth coating, but later on it got really bumpy just because it wouldn't smooth out. So probably I needed to have popped that back in the microwave for a few seconds to warm it up and loosen it up a little bit. So other than that, I highly recommend it. They're a delicious cookie from Delish. If you're interested in other holiday baking, check out this video. And until the next time, I hope you have a very wonderful day.